Okay. Open session called to order at 6:04. If everyone could please rise for the pledge of allegiance. Is the American flag is like up over there?
No, that's a stick.
You know what? You're first. No joke. You're the first one I saw. We're going
Don't look at me. Close your eyes.
Stand. Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You just pledged.
The flag is our
Oh, I didn't know that. Where does the flag go? Oh, thank you for indulging me, that was funny.
Anytime, anytime.
Okay, 10.0, report out from closed session. We actually did not get through all of our joint agenda items, so we will be reconvening closed session after our regular board meeting. There's nothing to report out from the first little bit of it. 11.0, approval of open session agenda.
I make the motion to approve the open session agenda.
I will second that. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, 12.0, presentations, students and staff.
Good evening, my name is Gina Murphy. I'm the principal at the primary school. And tonight I am doing a group staff recognition, and I would like to recognize our bus aides. So if Krissa, Anna, and Barrett could come on. So bus aides are people who come to support the drivers on the bus. We can have up to 84 kids on a bus on a route, and so it can become a little loud. Kids will eat and kind of do things they're not really supposed to do, and so having an extra adult on there with the drivers is super beneficial and helpful. They do this for extra time that's not part of their job description. They come in extra and ride the routes on the bus. If you've never done it, I suggest you try. It can be a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun and challenging. But since then, when we're able to have someone and have these three join our drivers, it makes the ride much more pleasant for our students, safer for them, safer for our drivers. The buses are cleaner at the end of the route. I see Lana and Paige nodding their head. And so I really just want to recognize that the three of you, I know you have your regular day job that you do and then hop on the bus in the afternoon to help support our students and drivers, and it couldn't be any more appreciated. And so sometimes we call them our unsung heroes, and so I just wanted to sing their praise. And they each have also chosen some students to recognize for being super bus riders. So we'll go ahead, and why don't we start with Krissa? You can call yours up.
I wanted to recognize Allard. He's here.
Oh, I think he couldn't make it, but you know what? I told her we were streaming it, so he's
Allard.
right there.
He's a little guy, CK, and I wanted to recognize him because he rides the bus almost the longest of everybody in front. And I feel like he sits in his seat, he uses the fidget spinners and stuff his grades provide him. But But he's super respectful if she ever asks him to do anything. He's quiet, he's kind of go to sleep, but he's just super good. I think for his age, he does a wonderful job. So thank you, for that. The other person I chose was Grayson. I see him over there. He also is very. I chose him too because I feel like there's a lot of kids on the bus, and he is very always respectful. If he wants to sit by one of his friends, he asks very politely. And if he's ever asked to do anything, he's yes, Miss Page, or yes, Miss Ramos. He has really good manners, and he's very respectful. So I appreciate that. I see that.
Okay, next is Hannah.
Well, in this, I got my team, Lana. I told her chose one and I chose one.
Oh, okay, did you want to come up
You
there?
want to come in and tell what it is? I feel if you work.
That is our bus driver.
This is our bus driver. Every single time I say something and I say consult with her first and then make him do the work. And she chose one and I chose one and I wanted you.
Oh, okay. I chose Fernanda Nunez. Yes. It's just a lot of Fernanda. She said it's a sweet pie. So Fernanda demonstrates excellent behavior on the bus. She constantly follows the bus rules. She remains seated. She keeps her hands and feet to herself and listens carefully to the bus driver. Fernanda treats others with kindness and respect, helping create a safe and positive environment for all riders. Her responsible behavior makes her a great example for others.
Well, and I forgot to say in the beginning, if you don't want your child on the streaming, let me know and I'll just block it. I chose Colton Howard because he is a very nice guy. Every single time he is in the seat and asks if he have question, he respect. I know the friends is kind of teenagers time, but if you know the friends is feel loud and everything, he's tough. He said, I don't want to get in trouble. And it's very respectful and it's very kind. And I showed you because you have two kids. And I told you, I can explain how to do it.
Okay, and finally, Barrett recognized.
Okay, so I chose all four of the same siblings, each other, because they are amazing and they always follow the rules. They're so kind to each other. It's Gabriel, he's not here, and then Charlotte and Owana and Manluki. Thank you. Star truly embodies what it means to be a Viking, even while riding the bus. She consistently shows what it looks like to be safe, responsible, and respectful, and she treats both adults and her peers with genuine kindness. Her positive attitude and thoughtful actions make her a wonderful example for others. That's for you, Charlotte. Okay? And then Luli is a fantastic example of what it means to be a Viking. Even on the bus, she consistently demonstrates safe, responsible, and respectful behavior and shows kindness and consideration to both adults and fellow students. Lily's positive attitude and thoughtful choices help make the bus a friendly and welcoming place for everyone. Owena is a wonderful example of what it means to be like, even while riding the bus. She consistently shows safe, responsible, and respectful behavior, and she is always kind and considerate towards both adults and her classmates. Her positive choices and caring attitude help make the bus a welcoming place for everyone. Gabriel. Gabriel is a shining example of what it means to be a biker, even while riding the bus. He consistently makes safe, responsible, and respectful choices, and he treats both adults and fellow students with kindness and consideration. Gabriel's positive attitude and thoughtfulness and thoughtful actions help make the bus a welcoming and enjoyable place for everyone. And so I thank all of you for being so kind and respectful and showing what it is to be a true biker. All right. Yes.
All right, I have a couple more to honor. One is Mr. Kyle Goodman. He could not be here tonight. He's in the midst of a lot of kid activities, which I totally understand right now. If you read the Record Searchlight, you might actually even see his son in some photographs, featured in some articles there. Anyways, we looked at his calendar for next meeting, and he already has a conflict then too. So I'm just gonna go ahead and honor him.
Do it in the, you can watch it later.
And then we'll stream it for him. So, so we are proud to recognize Kyle Goodman, a pillar of stability and dedicated mentor within our 4th and 5th grade wing. As the sole returning veteran in his department this year, Kyle has been the essential North Star for his colleagues, offering unwavering communication and collaboration. When the need arose to support a partner teacher's lead, Kyle stepped up without hesitation. He's guided the substitute with planning, field trips, assemblies, and sitting in on meetings as well. Making sure things are seamless for the substitute as well as the students. Beyond academics, Kyle instills a sense of civic pride in his classroom, teaching students the value of patriotism, not just through books, but through actions. One of the things he taught his class is to put the flag up every day and how to properly care for and fold it. By championing his students' individual talents and working closely with administration, he advocates for the children in his class, and he proves that he does not just teach curriculum, he builds community. And one of the, or the student that he wanted to honor tonight also could not be here. Again, I think he's playing a game right now. It's Camden Kuahara. And he, I had the really great experience, and this is just an example of Mr. Goodman too. He called and he's like, Mr. Nelson, you gotta come see this, you gotta come see this. And he had invited Camden to do a demonstration for the class on making fly fishing lures. And it was so cool, just how intricate and detailed Camden was about the process. And it was really neat how he described it to the class. And Mr. Goodman set it up so his document camera was focused on the lure, and it had a stand and kind of a vice grip sort of device. I'm sure that's not what it's called, but so that it was then projected up onto the screen so everybody in the class could see and follow along as Camden kind of narrated what he was doing. So it was just really cool to see his talent, but just the focus and dedication. And I've seen that in the classroom, and even on the ball field. I saw their first game and I thought, he's a little young to be on the middle school team as a 5th grader, and he's small, but just his confidence and his poise, just like I've seen in the classroom. So well deserved for Camden as
His
well.
fishing lures are a business, so.
Yeah, so you can buy it.
Here's your bag.
And then I also wanted to say, go ahead. This was from last month as well. Justine Kerr, who was sick last month, and tonight her kid is sick, so she ended up staying at home. So I'll go ahead and just talk about Justine, and then her student is actually here to be honored. So I'll go ahead and do that one for her. So it is a privilege to honor Justine Kerr, who serves our school with dual expertise as both our special education coordinator and RSP teacher. Justine acts as a vital bridge between our county SELPA and our district, ensuring our team is always equipped with the latest policy updates, streamlined resources, and clear timelines. Beyond her administrative leadership, she remains deeply rooted in student success. She conducts assessments, tailors IEPs, provides direct instruction that meets the unique needs of her students. Her ability to coordinate between administration and teachers and families ensures that our special education program is not only compliant, but truly impactful. Justine's dedication provides the structure and support our students and staff need to thrive. So she's been a great addition to the team this year. And then the student that she has chosen to honor, and I get to shake this young man's hand quite a bit, but it does not get old. So come on up, Liam David. So I'll go ahead and read what she put on here. Liam David is a hardworking and resilient student who always strives to do his best. He is kind, sociable, and respectful, forming positive connections with peers across all grade levels and with adults throughout the school. His respectful and inclusive nature makes him a valued member of our school community. Congratulations, Liam. And if I could just add too, as a principal, Liam is a student that I enjoy seeing every day. You know, he does. He can have very pleasant and mature adult conversation. I can talk to him about really interesting things. He's so considerate. He does. He's friends with 8th graders, and I see him with 4th graders, and everywhere in between. He's just a very well-liked student, and many of our staff really appreciate having him here. So, Liam, thank you very much. Thanks, Liam.
All right, thank you. 13.0, information discussion items, updates, community events, and staff announcements. 13.1, community staff and districts. A, are there any announcements from the community? B, certificated staff?
My name is Jamie Morgan. I am filling in for Ms. Farmio. She gave me a list of events to talk about. So to support the students from transitioning into recess, the aides, the recess coaches and aides have been wandering, let me just read it straight off so I don't screw this up. Have been implementing a cool down activity for each grade level to support entering the classroom with a calmer body. Miss Stacy's TK class has just wrapped up their farm unit, planting their very own oregano seeds, and the kids have been tending to them daily. They've already begun sprouting. The seeds, not the kids. Well, the kids too, but the seeds. Once the seeds are ready, they plan to use the oregano in a cooking recipe project. Miss Nybert's TK class celebrated Reading Across America Week with various fun activities, including directed drawings, read alouds, arts and crafts, and much more. To help support our independent study process, Marlene and Rocio, the office staff, have implemented a calendar that provides communication for all the parties involved. This process includes communication to the parents or guardians about their role and what process we have in place to help support them if they need help with the independent study work. It also provides teachers with a reminder of when the independent study work is due. The contractors poured the asphalt for the new TKK playground and project area. That was Monday, I think. Our final round of Brain Busters started back this week on Tuesdays and Thursdays and will run until April 23rd. She says this is just another way our school site is reaching out to support our students with some extra academic support. After returning from President's Week, our TK first grade students attended a presentation from Shasta Kids Dentistry about the importance of dental hygiene. Students learned about healthy habits such as brushing and flossing regularly to help keep their teeth strong and healthy. Each student received a goodie bag that includes a toothbrush, toothpaste, and dental floss to support healthy habits. Students were especially excited to participate in a brushing challenge. They were given a chart and to track each time they brush their teeth at home and then return it to their classroom once it's completed. The classroom with the most completed charts will earn a celebration. Coming up soon on, right?
Ice cream sundae.
They didn't specify. We're gonna go with, stickers and pencils. Coming up soon on April 2nd, we'll be hosting our second trimester showcase where each grade level will have the opportunity to share their work that they're most proud of from the trimester with the family and their friends. This event provides students a chance to celebrate their learning and accomplishments from the trimester. During the showcase, we will also recognize students who have demonstrated our trimester character traits, which are honesty, perseverance, and cooperation. These awards highlight students who have consistently modeled these important values in our school community. It's a very long process because we start, I think, at like 8:15, and each grade level gets their own time frame. So if you're available, please stop by and join us for that. Our TKK Roundup is scheduled for March 25th to support spreading the word. Our TK and K teams support spreading the word. Our TK and K teams have been working hard creating social media videos and making posters. If you haven't had a chance to check them out, I would do so. Happy Valley Union Elementary School District page. And then finally, we have a literacy fair scheduled for April.
Thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome.
Anyone else certificated? All right, C, classified staff.
Okay, I'm gonna be brave.
I was asked to come up, if you could just look at that, I printed it out, and you can just pass it down, that'd be great.
Hello, my name is Paige Chambers. I am a bus driver and an aide at primary. Before that, I was a preschool teacher out here at the preschool next to the primary and worked at Project Share. I grew up here in Happy Valley and went to school K through 8 and then graduated at West Valley. I love this community and working at the school, and I wouldn't want to go anywhere else. We are all like family. I'm talking about all the staff. And we work together so well. At recess, we have been having fun, playing music and using a bubble machine. And after recess, we have a cool down activity and it helps them get to focus on going to class. We do the YMCA, the Macarena, the Hokey Pokey, chicken dance, cha-cha slide, and more. I wish you could all see how much fun we have, including the staff. So I would like to invite all of the board members to come visit us anytime and watch us.
Thank you. All right, anyone else? D, board members.
I want to say this past Saturday, Happy Valley 4-H got asked to host presentation day for all of Shasta County. We ended up having, I think, 19 kids in 5 different rooms giving presentations. And we had a contract with the school here, so we used the cafeteria and a handful of the classrooms over there. And Erin and her husband Jonathan from the 4-H office were very impressed with the way the campus looked, how great everything flowed. Kate came and opened and helped get things set up for us. And then when we were done, we let her know that we were done, and everything flowed really well. We were able to get enough judges, and unfortunately or fortunately, we're going to get asked to do it again, I think. It was a lot of work, but it was really nice. So it's nice that the community, the 4-H were able to use the campus here for presentation day. So thank you for letting that happen, and I thought you guys would like to know. It went really well. Erin was one of our judges. She did great.
All right, any other board members? Nope. Okay. E, primary site update, although I think that.
I know, I
somebody did a
think
good job
Jamie pretty much did a great job for me.
Messenger.
I'm trying to see, well, I will say that, kind of piggybacking what Paige just said, we've had several families move out of the area lately, and it really is, it's sad and heartwarming at the same time to watch the kids kind of say goodbye to their friends. There's lots of hugs and tears and things like that from staff and students and families, which is one way that just shows that what a great little hive we have and have for our little bees. So yeah, and it's an opportunity for us to help some of our little bees that are having a hard time processing their sad emotions, but they're doing really good. One of our parents, Paula Rice, has a friend who's an author, and she wrote a series of books about a dog, her dog who's blind. It's a real dog, and it really is blind in one eye. But she wrote these little stories, encouragement stories about, like try your best and things like that. And so we read it to one of them to the students, and they really loved it. One of our teachers has a certified therapy dog, so she brought it and then read the dog story. Super cute. So actually, Paula Rice is going to come to the library and read the series to the students as they come through. And then when the author, who's her friend, comes to visit, she lives out of state, she's going to come and visit and bring that dog that's in the story. So, I think that's all I have.
All right, F, elementary site update.
Just some highlights since the last board meeting. We, back in February, finished up our Kindness Week. Student Council did some activities and sold and delivered candygrams. And then we finished up that week with a Valentine's dance, which was actually a lot of fun. I was a little concerned because it was the Friday before break. And I don't remember what the numbers we got back were, but kids had a good time, and I think it was well attended. And then during the break, of course, we had our ELO Peak camps here. We had the market and garden camps. Those were also very well attended, and sounded like they built some cool things, made some cool things, and had a really, really good time. We also this year, this was something that we hadn't, at least we didn't do last year, but we had a school-wide spelling bee. So we had them compete at the grade level, and then we had a school-wide spelling bee, and then we had 4 champions go on to compete at the county level as well. So that was really fun. And Mrs. Carter, our school counselor, I have to give her a shout out. She has a 3D printer, and she's like really getting into it. And so she made some really cool medals and awards for all of our spelling participants that went to the school-wide. And then an additional trophy for our 4 winners that went to compete at the county. So that was really cool. We have a new sports season. We have softball and baseball. Both had their home openers this week. And then of course we have our 4th and 5th grade boys and girls basketball that have been playing as well. So that's been a lot of fun. It was great to be out on the baseball field with my sunflower seeds. I love how the games are at the same time. an adjacent field so I can turn and watch and keep an eye on both. And I do encourage everybody to check out the baseball field. A lot of people have put in a lot of heart, a lot of work, blood, sweat, and tears into the field, and it looks really amazing. There's a really cool gate as you walk that would enter the right field. Basically, it's sort of like the first thing you see when you're walking down the track. They put, if there's a new infield, a new warning track along the fence, a new fence that's been put in. The new scoreboard was from last year, but it got moved to be closer to the fence. Just a ton of things that they've done, and it reminds me of the baseball fields that I grew up on. So there's a lot of nostalgia for me when I go out there.
A lot of volunteer hours and donations.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just love, if you stand and look at the gate that has the Happy Valley Pride, the mountains are in the background. And the first time I saw it, it was when there was snow on the mountains, and I was just blown away. It was just like, wow. So that was a lot of fun. We have Pi Day coming up. I put in the bulletin Pi Day observance on Friday because March 14th is on Saturday. So we'll be observing Pi Day on Friday. We are finishing up the second trimester this week. So we're getting ready for the third and final trimester. That means swapping middle school electives again, and then also getting ready for end of year state testing. So we're doing a lot of preparation for that. And then one cool thing I was going to mention for next week is we have a college and career week. So just trying to expand that awareness of all sorts of different opportunities post high school. And so just to give you an example of some of the things we're doing, we're repeating the career fair like we had last year, only instead of being in the gym the whole time, we're going to have the speakers in different classrooms and have the kids rotate to see different speakers. And we actually have a couple that are bringing either like a logging truck or a company vehicle. So they'll actually meet outside and go see that talk. We have 8th graders are going to get a special workshop on A through G high school requirements so that they understand what the graduation requirements are and all the content areas. Our 6th graders are going to do a field trip to Shasta College and do a campus tour and see all the different programs and facilities and things they have there. And then we have the California College and Career Guidance website has a lot of resources. Kids can get logged in and create accounts. So our counselor's going to do presentations on that and get our kiddos logged in. Just a lot of stuff that the idea is really to get the kids just dreaming, thinking and dreaming about what they might want to do post high school. And then the secondary hope is that will motivate them to really see value in what they're doing now, and kind of make the connection between what I'm doing now and how that's going to prepare me for the future. So that is it for me. Thank you.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, for everyone who's here that came for the presentations and hear all the good things going on at the school, you are welcome to leave if you would like. If you want to stay and listen to a board meeting, we invite you to do that as well. Chris, a couple of years ago at the West Valley Career Day, I believe it was PG&E, and they had one of their
bucket truck.
The bucket truck, and the gentleman did not lower the bucket, and when he pulled away from the school, he took out the power line and the whole area lost power. I'm not joking, like the whole took out, he hit the line, it pulled the pole out of the ground.
Oh no!
You were there to show them how to do the job, not how to do it wrong.
Dragging it behind it down Happy Valley Road.
That pole sat on the ground for quite a few days, and we were at so many sporting events that week. We just got such a chuckle out of it. Of all days. Okay. 14.0, communication to the board, none. 15.0 public comment. Public session items not on the agenda but within the jurisdiction of this body may be addressed at this time or be submitted to the superintendent in writing for board consideration as an agenda item. Items not on the agenda are restricted in response and action by the board and its members. A 3-minute limit is set for each speaker on all items. The total time for public input on each item is limited to 20 minutes. Government Code 54952. In order to protect the rights of all involved, complaints about employees should be addressed through the district complaint process. Speaking about a personnel issue at a board meeting may prevent the board from being able to act on it. Please see an administrator to initiate the complaint process. 15.1, public comment session is open. 15.2, items on the agenda. 15.3, items not on the agenda. 15.4, public comment session is closed. 16.0, consent agenda. Consent agenda items are expected to be routine and non-controversial. They will be acted upon by the board at one time without discussion. Board members may request that an item be removed from the consent agenda for later discussion. And I do need to pull the approval of the regular board meeting minutes from February 11th out of the consent agenda. Is there anything else anybody wants to pull out? Okay, so I will make a motion to approve the consent agenda, removing the approval of the regular board meeting.
I will second that.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so on the board meeting minutes from last month, it was shared that the COLA was 2.41, expected COLA next year. No, it was shared audibly that it was 2.41, but there was a typo and it was recorded at 6.41. So the minutes that you received on the table tonight were the corrected minutes, so it is 2.41. So I make a motion to approve the regular board meeting minutes with the correction of 2.41 as the anticipated COLA for next year.
I will second that.
All in favor? Aye. Cheryl, thank you. Any opposed? Okay, 17.2, discussion action, approve 25-26 second interim budget. And this is the packet here, yes?
Okay, so, just kind of to quickly go through everything, we are spending just slightly above what our revenue is for the year. I did put in, I believe, the third page that, in a way, it's a false deficit. Majority of that excess spending is really one-time money that has to be spent this year. And so, some of that was like the one-time payment that we did. And I had a meeting with Chris and Gina to discuss plans with the remaining funds. But so there is a surplus of about 13,000. With that being said, there's still some unknown liabilities with attorney's fees and things. And so, it's not necessarily where we'll end up at. But it's just been kind of hard to judge what those fees look like. I did make them bigger than what they were at first interim because we had already surpassed what the estimate was. But it looks like we're surpassing my second estimate. So, anyways, it's not in a terrible spot. Like I said, currently we're doing well on spending. It's just really the attorney's fees that I'm just a little worried about putting us into the negative for the year. Yeah, the enrollment in ADA, as I've mentioned before, currently we're funded through the 3-year prior average. So that's been helpful when it comes to our funding. Our LCFF revenue did come in a bit short when I ran the numbers for the second interim. That's primarily because our unduplicated people count went down, which is that extra 15% that we get for the unduplicated students. And we did do some digging and, realized that there was just a lack of paperwork turned in. And so that's, right, sorry, on parents, families didn't turn in appropriate paperwork. My bad. So we send out paperwork every, year, but I do think that we need to change the process, and just kind of make sure everything's done through Aries and collecting things like everything. Because I imagine, like, we've been sitting at about 70% unduplicated, but I think that we're probably higher than that. Because I imagine if we didn't get them all back this year, I don't think we've ever gotten them all back.
Is this the free and reduced? Yeah, it's so hard for parents to understand that, because everyone in California gets a free lunch, so like, why do I need to fill out this form?
Yeah.
But the form, by filling out that form, it gives us so much more money based on those statistics. But if we don't have accurate numbers, then we don't get the right amount of money, right?
Yeah, and there's a lot of other, like, the ELOP funding, is based off of our unduplicated people count. Granted, this still makes us qualified and all of that, but, it will eventually, like, catch up to us if we don't, like, nip it in the bud right now. So next year, we just need to make sure that we're doing something to make sure that they're all turned in. Moving on, the 2.3% increase. There was a slight drop in federal funds. Most of that was Title I. Most of our other state funding basically stayed the same. There hasn't been any changes to that. And our overall expenditures, I do not think that we are going to make the CEA requirement again. Again, a lot of that is just because, the amount of money that we're spending in services. So as you can see, it's almost as much as and attorney's fees are wrapped into that, and that's the JTA services. So, that will go down, hopefully, as the things wrap up with the attorneys, but that tends to just kind of be our thorn in our side is the services, so. Which is, SCOE knows everyone's situation, and so getting a CEA approval is not an issue. Okay, and then, the state requires a 4% of expenditures to, be allocated. I would like to do a little bit more, but our reserve for economic uncertainties is $475,000. The unrestricted remaining balance is about 1 million. And then the total general fund, unrestricted and restricted, is just under 2 million. And then the multi-year outlet, look, so as I mentioned earlier, the expenditure of one-time funds that expire this year are basically most of the deficit, well, all of the deficit, currently. There was unexpected, projects that came up this year. The bus maintenance, the attorney costs, we have to get new staff computers, the phone system that we had to replace. So the only thing kind of ongoing next year planned as of right now is the second phase of the computers, and then another bus is being painted. And so as of right now, that's what's on the big project list for next year. And then for 26-27, there's a small surplus projected. I did note that there may be a deficit to the spending, but there is a couple of one-time monies that we got this year. The learning recovery and the recovery funding and the student support block grant. We haven't come up with a spending plan for that yet. And so if we decide to spend that next year, that would probably put us in the deficit spending. But again, those are one-time funding that we've already received. We received them this year. And then 27-28, I think I have a typo here. It was supposed to be surplus slightly increases from the prior year. There's about a $49,000 surplus. Again, this is based on no significant expenditure changes projected, no big projects that I'm currently aware of. And that's maintaining about the current enrollment ADA. And then, and also in the multi-year outlook, I did figure in the step increases and the salary adjustments. There is a note in here that the current salary agreements end the end of 2027. Yeah, 26, 27. So we're good for one more year and then we'll have to go to negotiate again. And key budget considerations, conservative ADA estimates. I haven't increased any enrollment numbers for the projection years. All of the vacancies are still filled. We will be managing next year's needs, or we'll be evaluating next year's needs. The funded COLA for this year was 2.3. That resulted in an increase of 1.725. Current year revenue at the state levels appear to be doing better than projected, resulting in a low anticipation of deferrals, which we did get an email that they are doing deferrals, which basically just means they're putting out our payment until a later date, like our funding, but it's just our June payment, and they're only deferring it to July. And so there are waiver requests for that, but we don't need it. It's based on like if you don't have money basically to fund payroll or whatever it is in June, then you can be exempt from that, but we don't qualify. And so our June LCFF money will be, income revenue will be deferred until July. So it's only like 3 weeks. And the funded COLA for next year, as of right now, is at 2.41, and that is a 1.8% salary schedule increase. And so that was figured in. And then I did for the third year outlook, the 27-28, I did estimate 75% of the COLA again, like just for the salary increases. I just kind of kept the same salary schedule increments throughout the years. I didn't want to estimate no salary increases in case that there are some, so. And then as far as next year goes too, the May revise is not happening until like later in May. I think it's like May 21st. And that's when basically we get all of the information from the governor about next year's budget. Right now, everything is like, you can't hang on to anything. And so when the new May revise comes out, they do a big half-day webinar and they go over COLA, all the different new funding sources and things like that. And so unfortunately, I don't know if that'll be in time to get it on the adopted budget, but I'll definitely like bring that information if I can't get it on there. Do you guys have any questions on this budget?
I think I saw everyone's head shaking now.
Nope.
Okay, so this is an approval item. Do I have a motion to approve the 25-26 second interim budget?
I make a motion that we approve the 25-26 second interim budget. I will second that.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. 17.3, discussion action, approved dates of June regular and special board meeting. And just to remind everyone, I think this is in regards to the, LCAP, or is it, we have to have it within a certain date of the second, do you have the information?
Yeah, well, just that the second meeting has to be 3 days from the first one.
Right, but what's the requirement of the first one, do you know? Okay, so usually we tend to be working around graduations and the fair with all of the 4-H people. So graduation, we're done that first week in June, right?
Correct.
So our regular board meeting would normally be June 10th. What is fair this year?
17th through the 21st.
Ooh, we're gonna get this all done before you all even have to go to fair.
Well, part of the reason why they always put it later was because they wanted more time to
Get the LCAP ready.
Yeah. So
So when can you have the LCAP ready?
You have it ready then. Last year I had it We had it
Can
ready.
we-
Like,
okay,
if we
can
know the date, like, it's gonna be ready.
Can we do it on the 10th and the 12th?
No, because that'd be 3 days apart. We can do it on the 9th and the 12th. They have to be 3 days apart.
Yeah, you have to have a public meeting when it's done, so it has to be posted and done.
Yeah.
And then a public meeting so that they can comment on it, and then if any revisions need to be made, that's what the Thursday is
I just
for.
couldn't remember if it counted to have it on the 10th or the 12th, or if we had to have it like 9th and the 12th.
My understanding is it has to be 3 days after the first meeting. So would everyone be available to have our regular board meeting on Tuesday, June 9th? Yes. That would be our regular business
so,
board
yeah.
meeting. And then that second meeting, it
Just do it
takes
like-
all of like 5 minutes to call everyone to order, to approve the LCAP, and to
And
head out for the summer.
we've
So
done
we
it at
usually do that like in the morning.
Yeah, 9 AM or 8 AM or whatever, depending on when everybody has to be
Right.
there.
So with that is,
Mhm.
for now, would most of us be available to be able to be at the June 9th meeting at our regular, Tuesday at, say, 5 o'clock? Yes. Tuesday, June 9th, 5 PM for regular. And then Friday, June 12th. Does anyone have any particular time that works better than the other for them? Okay. For me, probably 8:30 would be better, just because I get some classes up and running every day at 8, and then I can scoot out, so I can do 8:30.
8:30 AM?
Anybody have any objections to that?
No.
Okay, so I make a motion to schedule our June regular board meeting for Tuesday, June 9th at 5 PM here in the normal locations. And, our special board meeting in June to approve the LCAP on Friday, June 12th at 8:30 AM. And that one will be here also. You know what? The last time we did it, thank you for calling that out. We did it at the district office last time, so there. District office for the special and HVE for the regular. Anyone want to second that?
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. 17.4, discussion action, approve updated November 2025 board policies. Please refer to the January board packet. Did anyone else get super excited when they saw that it was only 223 pages and then realized that we literally had to scrutinize every single paragraph of almost every one of these policies? I honestly think this one took me longer than any other one. So this is the November, packet from CSBA. And, it was in the January board packet. Let me know when you guys are ready and
Go for it.
okay. Board policy 1000.
I know, it's just funny how you said it.
I know. It's funny because I read this one first and I was like, this isn't a policy, this is like a mission statement or something. I feel like it was not clearly defined, it wasn't there's nothing that's well informed or recognized, it talks about, it has vague terms like well informed, we will keep the public well informed, we recognize the importance of, we encourage attendance and participation. And it says that we as board members will study legislature and establish relationships with federal, state, and local leaders in the media. And originally I was gonna say, I propose we drop this policy, because I'm like, this is just a touchy-feely policy that's not even actually holding us to anything that's defined. But then I got farther back into the packet, and it's board bylaw, which we'll get to that down the road here in a minute, talks about what a policy is. And so after I read that, I'm like, okay, now I have to go back to board policy 1000. And as I read through the policy, while I still believe that it is not well written, there's not really a clear definition, and when you have a policy, it's so that you can have accountability, right? And so I'm not opposed to keeping it, but I think that there's some opportunity to refine it a little bit, like, what does, let me find it in the policy here, what they were suggesting, what does it mean to keep the community well informed? Like, that's not a policy, I don't know, that's a recommendation. So, we can approve it as they suggest it, we can refine it to fit our needs better. I don't know that I had any necessary suggestions, it just, to me, was just, again, if you're gonna have a policy, it's to have a guideline, not.
Right.
So it says, in order to encourage support for districts and district schools, promote collaboration between the districts, parents, guardians, community members, and local organizations to identify and respond to community priorities. The board shall establish effective two-way communication between the district and the community. In the third paragraph, it says the board and the superintendent or designee shall keep the community members well informed about the district programs, needs, and accomplishments, and shall ensure that they have opportunities to share the development of the district decisions in accordance with Board Bylaw 9005. So that one would point you into the direction of 9005, but to say, keep community members well informed. In whose perspective? And so I was just
Well, and
looking
then
at
how do we do that? Are we, us as board members, are we putting stuff out to Parent Square? Is that on social media? Like, how are we, I feel like the school, that's what the school does. You know, how would we as board members then approach that?
So I agree with all of the intent of the policy in that we want to have open communication, open two-way communication. We want to have conversations with our parents, our families, our business owners, and collaborate as a community to create a better environment for all of us. But I don't feel like this policy does a good job of saying what is it that we're being held to by this policy, other than announcing that we all agree that this is a good foundation. So, I don't know what to do with it. It just, again, I'm black and white, and I feel like there's a lot of gray in this policy.
It's pretty common for a lot of these policies to be mostly aspirational. There's not really any legislative authority behind them. They do reference, you know, the bylaws and stuff that have legislative authority, but it's more than an aspirational statement than anything else. Doesn't really hold you to anything.
And that's what I feel this policy that does.
It's pretty common.
I'm not objective to it, I just kind of would like to refine what does that mean, but that takes time too, so. Does anybody have any suggestions, any opinions?
I don't really care either way, honestly.
I just think when it says the board and the superintendent shall keep the community members well informed. Almost to use that word that Josh did, the board and the superintendent aspire to keep the community well informed, but what by saying shall, like, then you're saying that
That's the legal term. That's the government standard is aspiration because it's unenforceable.
So what's your suggestion here?
Doesn't matter either way. If we want people to see it and be like, we shine because of that, we leave it, or we just goes away, it doesn't matter.
I don't think anyone's going to be reading our
It's
board
just
policy,
It's
honestly.
just words, it means nothing.
Yeah.
And that's what I got the first time I read it. And I'm like, this is just words. There's nothing that's a policy in this. Like, there's
I mean,
nothing.
if you were searching through policy and you were having trouble finding it, and you came across this, it does reference bylaw 9005 and some
Right.
government standards. So it could be like a search mechanism, but it's just aspirational, it's nothing.
Okay. It doesn't upset me too terribly much, so if anyone, if you guys wanna adopt or adopt the changes, drop the policy, what's the recommendation here? I was pretty ambiguous.
I'm not against adopting it, just because I don't think it can specifically hold us accountable for doing or not doing anything.
Okay, so you're saying go ahead and adopt it? Okay. So board policy 1000, adopt as proposed. Board policy 1114, this is district-sponsored social media. We do not currently have this policy. It is an optional policy. I think it restricts too much. I propose that we don't adopt it, but we're here to have that discussion. A lot of it is common sense, but there also are, restrictions on some of the social media stuff, so. You know me, I almost always lean towards not having optional policies, especially if we can whittle down the number of policies that we're making. So my proposal was to not adopt this policy. Anybody want to adopt it?
Most of this is already statute and or case law
Exactly.
that already exists.
Yeah.
Boyd, the Trump one, there's a lot of, most of this is already bound up, so it doesn't matter.
Okay, so for board policy 1114 and the accompanying, regulation, we will not adopt. Board policy 2120, superintendent recruitment and selection. There was some small updating to the verbiage of that policy. I didn't have any objection to. I think there was some verbiage added to if you were gonna use a third-party recruitment agency in superintendent recruitment and selection. So it wasn't really changing the policy much, so I was fine with it. Anybody? Adopt as proposed. AR 3311.3, design build contracts. So according to CSBA, the last time this policy was updated was 2023, but when I looked at our current policy, it actually has not been adopted or been updated since 2021. This is an optional policy, and while I appreciate that it helps to guide the process, it also restricts the process rather tightly. Also, there is a section that requires that all of the work performed by the employees of any contractor. So if we hire a construction company, and it's design build contract, so they're gonna do everything from the the architect design to groundwork to, everything. There's a section in there that requires that all of the work performed be by registered, state approved, by employees that are registered with a state approved apprentice program, and that 60% of the work must be performed by apprentice graduates. I'm sitting there thinking about all the gentlemen that just worked on our TKK project, and I'm wondering, I wonder if 60% of those men have an apprentice certificate. But
Well,
this,
Isn't there already, with DIR, there's already requirements when you're gonna work for the state on public projects. I believe there's already requirements for having so many apprentices under your umbrella, basically. I don't know if it's per project, but I'm pretty sure there's already regulations that aren't that strict on it.
I don't know, for me, there was a lot of restrictions on how to go about a design build contract within this policy, and then when I read that, I was like, goodness, is that even a realistic expectation? And so I'm not opposed to, the policy, or I am opposed to the section about those regulations, just because I think that we would be hard pressed in our area to even be able to find companies that have 60% certificate. I mean, I know we're just hiring people off the street to paint our back classrooms,
It looks like that already exists in Ed Code, in state statute.
So it's an optional policy. I propose to drop it altogether, but I'm open to talking about it.
Well, if it's optional, and you said there's already ed code,
Yeah,
then.
all those requirements from Ed Code 17-250.
Drop it.
I say drop it then.
Okay, drop that policy, 3311.3, it's an AR, 3311.3. Board policy 3470, debt issuance and management. This is a mandated policy. It's conditional based on what type of debt you take on and what type of funding you get, but it was just some minor verbiage changes. I didn't have any opposition to the update that they were proposing. adopt as proposed? Anyone opposed? Board policy 4,000, so this is the board policy 1,000 was, in regards to community relations. Board policy 4,000, 4,000 series is in regards to which body of the community, I forget, it's that staff, I think. I think that policy was better written because it's talking about staff and not just community overall. And I didn't have any opposition to the updates that they were suggesting on board policy 4,000. It was clearly defined as to what the policy was asking for and expectations in my opinion. Okay. I said adopt as proposed. Any opposition to that? Nope. Board policy 5,000, same thing, so we go from, I think 4,000 is staff and 5,000 is either, I'm sorry, what's that?
Is it certified?
It might be certificated and then classified or opposite or something like that. I always see it when I'm looking through the policies. This is students, okay, so 5 is students, 5,000 is students, okay. I like that the new paragraph 1 in talking about student expectations talks about completing work on time and I personally feel that the proposed additional second paragraph is total fluff with no policy held at all. And it's an optional paragraph. Let me get to that page and see why I felt so strongly, because I actually underlined it there. It's a different page for me because I pulled it right off of the CSBA packet. So give me 1 second. $5,000. Okay, this is a brand new paragraph. It says the board recognizes that students and staff have the right to a safe and secure campus where they are free from physical and psychological harm. The board is fully committed to maximizing school safety and to creating a positive learning environment that includes strategies for violence prevention and has high expectations for staff and student conduct, responsible behavior, and respect for others in accordance with bylaw 0450, comprehensive safety. So I felt like, again, it very much felt like Josh said, this is an aspirational paragraph.
It does give that,
By the
for
policy.
search reasons, but yeah.
Okay, then from that perspective, I'm not as, it just bothered me that I'm like, why are we adding a whole paragraph that says nothing? But it's fine. I will say that, the SPs and ARs recommended in paragraph 3, or the board policies and ARs, how it's circling back. The board is fully committed to providing equal education opportunities and maintaining schools that are free from discrimination. The board shall not tolerate the intimidation or harassment of any student for any reason. And when they circle back to those 2 policies, they're specifically hitting on the inclusion of gender identity population, which to me felt like California doing what California is doing. And so I did not like the addition of the board shall not tolerate the intimidation or harassment of any student for any reason, period. Like, I'm fine, we don't need to add the whole other stuff that is finding a way to circle back, that they're gonna come back to that every time.
It's nice to do that too, to leave these references to the other policies kind of vague, because when you update the other policy, if this is vague, it doesn't have to be updated itself. And that's why you see a lot of them paired together when they go through an update, and it's just a change of language, because they reference each other constantly.
So I just say that we have the board shall not tolerate intimidation or harassment of any student for any reason, period, and not include the rest of that paragraph. Okay? So with that, we are only Okay. We're fine with that second paragraph, it's aspirational but good, so we are not adding we are adopting without added verbiage in paragraph 3. I'm taking neater notes for you this time, Shauna.
She have a hard time reading them.
She asked me for them after the meeting, they went, oh, I do chicken scratch, let me work on this. Okay, board policy 5020, parent rights and responsibilities. I personally, everything seems fine with me except for that we do not need the paragraph about adding a parent center. We have a family center and our focus is on students. So I didn't think we needed to add the paragraph about the superintendent can set up a parent center, a parent resource center. It was on the second to last paragraph of the policy and it's new verbiage. The paragraph right above that, says that the superintendent shall take all reasonable steps to ensure that all parents and guardians who speak a language other than English are properly notified. I'm totally supportive of that. But setting up a parent center for non-English speakers seems a little bit beyond our resources at this time. So I propose to adopt their suggestions without the added verbiage about a parent center. Any objections to that? Okay. The AR 5020 is mandated, but elements of it are optional. This is about parents' rights and responsibilities, and there is a lot on this policy, but in number 17, they are suggesting that we remove a parent's right to decline to have the school do a psychological evaluation on their students. I do not like that they are suggesting we remove the option for parents to deny psychological testing of their child. And there isn't anything that says that this removal is mandated. So I suggest that we keep the option in 17. It was 16 previously, but now it's the new 17. And it says to receive notice and information about and to opt out of any psychological testing involving their child. No, they are adding and to opt out instead of and to deny permission to give the test. So I'm sorry, they are just rewording it, and to opt out is there. I was like, why are they denying my ability to do that? Okay, but after reading it now, they did add in the verbiage and to opt out. Okay, never mind, I'm gonna go back on what I said. Parent responsibilities. This one hit a nerve for me on number 4. They are suggesting that we say to our parents, it is their responsibility to monitor and prohibit or regulate the use of social media and other forms of online entertainment viewed by their child. I cannot believe in 2026 that the state of California thinks that the school board should tell the parents that they should prohibit their children from using social media. Do I think that they should monitor and regulate? 1000%. But is it realistic to say it's your responsibility as a parent to prohibit their use of social media? It says monitor and prohibit or regulate.
Regulate is one or the other.
I just thought that was overstepping, in my opinion, but I understand it says prohibit or regulate, but I think saying regulate, I think monitor and regulate is sufficient.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty strong to say that you should.
I mean, they're probably just trying to make reference that if the kid winds up bullying online or something that we're like disciplined for, they want the parent to feel like the parent should have stepped in before you had to, for the school district.
And it says on here, and other forms of online entertainment viewed by their child. I think they probably have the prohibit for some things that could be accessed online or maybe worse. It's a good perspective. Any proposals? I don't know if I'm against it because it has the or there. Anybody else? Yeah, you want to stick this right here? So these are parent responsibilities and it's just discipline monitoring and they've added prohibited
or regulated the, is that television? It does say or, so I'm gonna try the or. I don't really care either way, honestly.
I feel like this would need to get updated from just television.
Who wants this to be?
Okay, so do we want to adopt as proposed? Or do we want to take out the word prohibit?
I can take it out.
I would need it. I'm not trying to argue, but something may be prohibited.
I
And it's
mean-
up to parents.
It's another aspirational thing, and it's us saying that we want them to do this. I don't know, it was weird.
I don't know,
I think
I don't
television should have stayed.
I don't think as a board member, I should tell a parent to prohibit something, that's their choice.
And what I was gonna say, rules that I might have for my kids, you might not have for yours. So. But, I mean,
But it says or,
yeah,
it doesn't. I don't think it matters a whole lot.
So we're about 50-50 here. I'm okay with taking it out.
I don't care either way. Doesn't mean
Yeah, just adopt it, take out prohibit, or whatever that the word was. What was it?
Prohibiting.
prohibited, could mean prohibited, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to adopt, but we are not going, in parent responsibilities number 4, we are not going to adopt the word prohibiting. Board policy 5117, inter-district attendance. Again, on this one, it was last updated by the CSBA in 2023. Ours was not, hasn't been updated since 2020. We are option 1 in this policy. And the instruction collaboration agreement section would be completely new to us. I'm not in any opposition to it, but Gina, I'm wondering if you're at all familiar with it. It is, let me get to that page. Inter-district attendance agreements and permits. The board may enter into an agreement with any other school district for a term not to exceed 5 years. Is this right? Nope, that's not right. It's an instructional collaboration agreement. That's what it is. Okay. The district may, with the board approval, enter into an instructional collaboration agreement, an ICA, with another school district, county office of education, or charter school, for the district to offer the same or similar courses and coursework to students from another district, county office of education, or charter school who have been impacted by any of the following: disruptions or cancellations in science, technology, engineering, STEM classes, disruptions or cancellations in dual language immersion programs, or teacher shortages in STEM classes or dual language immersion programs. So This isn't currently in our policy, it looks like it's currently part of Ed Code, but I just didn't want to incorporate an entire section without consulting with those that have to provide those services.
So the way I read that was that, like, we basically, then we'd be obligated to mimic the program they're coming from, even if our program isn't the same. So like, it made me think of specific curriculum or specific web-based programs they might use that we don't, and then you'd have to have extra purchases, or I don't know, to see.
Or you might not have somebody that knows how to teach that, or.
Right, and then I also thought, like, it talks about STEM and English language immersion, but it didn't mention the other content areas, which I thought, I didn't understand that.
Okay, so on the rest of the policy, I didn't see anything that was glaring, I just was like, that was a big section that we hadn't adopted, you know, our policy hasn't been updated since 2020. And I think we could stand to update some of the other verbiage that's in option 1, but I think I'll propose that we don't adopt the instruction collaboration agreement section. Does anybody have any opposition to that?
That was option.
It's actually called the Instruction Collaboration Agreements, and it's an entire section of the policy. Okay, thank you for your input, Gina. AR 5117 that accompanies that policy, again, we are still option 1. Item number 3 is an optional section. It's about transfers out of the district, and it all has to do with desegregation and doesn't apply to us. So I just propose that we drop that item number 3 on the AR.
I'm good with that.
It's, let me find it, it's transfers out of the district, number 3. So basically, we would deny someone transfers out of the district if it was in regards to race and desegregation, and that's not something we even have up here, so maybe it's something they contend with in LA or San Francisco, I don't know.
Because our county has an open inter-district transfer agreement where we typically don't deny.
Yeah, I'm starting to get chicken scratchy again, I must be getting, okay. Board policy 5138, conflict resolution peer mediation. I read this policy so many times, and I'm like, wow, this is a really lovely idea, and I suspect that we're currently probably not doing it, and it's likely not feasible for a district of our enrollment numbers. And it's only applicable to middle school age students. Even if it is engaged. So I wanted to ask, first off, are we currently using a conflict resolution peer mediation program in which we are training our students to be a mediator between their peers?
No.
Okay.
That would also be aspirational.
I feel like we have in the past, or at least talked about, so I remember.
Capturing Kids' Hearts has a next level program where they do teach students to do
So I
that.
remember Sam being asked in the last few years to be like a peer counselor type situation, so. I don't
I'm sure
remember
this
either
district
really
has done
being-
Capturing Kids' Hearts, and
Yeah.
so maybe it was in conjunction with that. They do have a specific leadership program that they do.
Are you in our policy? Can you see if that's like, what I don't have in my notes is if this is I don't think this is a policy we currently have, 5138. Can you see if that's a current policy? I just have to put my computer up to be true. My notes don't tell me if I think we should drop it or not adopt it, is my problem. Can't remember if it's a new policy or if it's one we don't have. Sorry, I should have my computer open.
I had some stuff unchecked, so.
Here.
what do you call it? Go down. Go up. Right there, that little red thing that says year. And then go to policies over on the right. And then type in the search box right there, the second box on the left. Right there where it says code, type in 5138.
Yeah, we have it.
We do have it?
Last revised 2007.
Okay, so I propose we drop that policy. It's a pretty extensive like training program to get them to be mediators among their peers. Okay, anybody have any opposition to dropping that policy? Not a practice we're using right now. Okay. Board policy 6020, parent involvement. So this policy is stating that the superintendent shall work with parents to jointly develop and update this policy. So it's like built into the verbiage of the policy that you would, into the new verbiage of the policy is that you would have worked with parents to bring the update to us. And so I'm proposing to table the update of this policy so that you can take it to site council and get their input. Does that sound good?
Yes.
I also want to clarify, within the policy, it talks about establishing, that the board would establish a parent advisory council. And I'm confused between what's a parent advisory council versus a site council. And so when you go through that with them, can you clarify and see it? For one, are we required to have, in addition to a site council, a parent advisory council, or, because there's the verbiages in there. But my suggestion, this is a
When I read it, I thought,
policy.
well, wouldn't this be the school site council?
And that's what I,
But you don't have to have a school site council, so, because it's tied to Title I funding. So you only have to have school site council if you take Title I dollars. So I don't know if that's maybe the difference, but I mean, I would imagine if you have a school site council, they would also be your parent advisory council, especially in a small district.
right, and I just didn't know if this is in addition to or a new one. So I'm asking if we could table this one, have Gina take it to the site council, this and the accompanying regulation, take it to the site council, get their input on it, because the verbiage states that that should happen.
And what's that number again?
6020, board policy and AR.
Did you say it was parent involvement policy?
It's called a parent advisory council, a PAC, and they use that acronym, PAC.
Okay, yeah, that's different than parent involvement. So I was gonna say, we do annually go over a parent involvement policy, this sounds different.
Yeah, it says, where is it? Oh, that's the AR, give me just a second, get back to the policy. And this is tied to Title I too, so, nonetheless, you can noodle it out, with the site council.
Okay.
Not to put it all in your lap, but.
It's okay, Chris does school site council.
Okay, so that was that one. Board policy 6143, course of study. I don't have, this is a conditionally mandated policy. I don't have any opposition to it. However, there are quite a few sections that are high school only. So just give the direction that we're not adopting any of the high school sections on the board policy. Anybody have anything they think otherwise? Adopt without high school sections. Okay, this next one. I literally have 2 pages of notes. So this is a regulation in regards to the course of study. I thought it was lovely and interesting that they're bringing cursive back. It's a requirement to teach either italicized joined letters or cursive, according to this policy. Huh?
Danielian.
Okay. I literally went through section by section and I have lots of notes, so I apologize in advance. Section 3A in my opinion, if we are required to teach on the history and contribution to include LGBTQ plus populations, I think it should be added that parents may opt out of that education. That's my opinion. 3G is a optional one, but it says that we're going to incorporate history of Spanish colonization and the gold rush era. And I think it's specific to your age brackets. And so, my question is, are we prepared to teach through Spanish colonization and the history of the gold rush era? If we're gonna build that into our course of study.
Well, yeah, it's in our history books, but the other content area ones you did not adopt. Is this a mandatory one? Like in the past?
Let me look. It runs over a second page, so it might not be, because we didn't do adoptions of math and some other one. I see what you're saying. Maybe I didn't need to spend 3 hours on this policy, and that would have just been a lovely gift ahead of time. See, this is where CSBA gets you. You can almost tell when they don't tell you it's not optional, but it is optional. Like usually they'll start it
Yeah, they'll
with
start out saying.
this
is an
optional policy, and they don't, which I think it's a kind of way of a slip of the tongue to try and. So it doesn't have an M or a C in the mandated policy, or in the mandated column, 6143. So Gina brings up a very good point, because it does, it literally goes into teaching about Vietnam and World War II, and not that I think we shouldn't be doing that stuff, but it's a policy of incorporating this stuff into our course of study. And if we didn't adopt the math course of study, and I do recall that now, I think she's right. I think we should drop it. Boy, I did a lot of work on this.
3 hours, you can't get back. I'm fine. with
Anyone
that.
opposed to dropping that policy?
It might be required.
Okay.
6143.
6143, it's a regulation, so I don't think a regulation.
Oh, the regulation, no. I'm still looking.
Oh, we adopted the policy, the regulation, I don't think the regulation, they can require it. So for the policy we adopted without the high school section, so regulation, I propose that we drop. And you are correct, sir, the policy is a conditionally mandated policy, but the AR is. Oh. Drop the AR. Board policy 6146.2, certificate of proficiency high school. We don't have high school certificates, and they're proposing to delete it. We don't have it in the first place, so we don't need to do anything with this one. The accompanying AR, same thing. And the exhibit 1, same thing. We don't have it. We don't need to do anything with high school certificates. Okay, board policy 7000. The only thing that I was curious about was they're adding number 9, which is consider the use of district property for workforce housing. And I was like, what does that even mean? Is it maybe like when CAL FIRE needs to use your facilities, but then I looked it up and it seems like it's more of like subletting or selling the use of district property to build workforce housing. I don't even know what that means, to tell you the truth, but I don't know why we would add that to our policy. It's number 9 in the proposal policy.
And you're talking about the 7000?
Yes, ma'am. So that's a new addition. there are a couple other new additions, which I didn't see any issue with, like authorizing the use of school facilities by district residents, union member groups in accordance with the policies, so just like we did with 4-H last weekend. We
Yeah,
wanna,
that's what I'm
we
saying.
wanna,
Yeah.
we wanna have people using the school
Yeah,
district
using
as
facilities,
creating
yeah.
community, but I just didn't understand the use of district property for workforce housing.
Yeah,
And then they talk about workforce housing in another, policy coming up in a couple minutes, and it talks more about selling or subletting the property to build workforce housing. So that's a really.
Yeah.
So I was proposing to adopt as proposed without the addition of number 9. Unless anyone can tell me why we should consider using the district for workforce housing. Supposed to go to war and we need housing. Riches. Adopt without number 9, any objections to that? Board policy 7131, relations with local agencies. This policy used to be mandated, but now it is not. And I do not see that this policy is relevant to our district. I propose to drop it. There's lots of bureaucracy for a situation that likely would never develop within our district. These were my notes when we get to that policy. It talks about plans and developments and working with cities, and it does talk about the workforce housing in this policy, district workforce housing development. But again, I think this is more of an inner city policy, that it's no longer mandated. I propose that we drop it, but any opposition there? Yeah. Board policy 9310. So this is about what we're doing right now, the process of approving these policies. And if you look at number 4, it would change our process, and I actually really kind of like it. So the first read, in the process of having the first read, we would also invite the public for their input. We would post this packet in our posted agenda for the community to see it, and invite them to come to our board meeting and tell us how they feel about these proposed changes to our policies.
I like that.
Then, so the first read would also invite the public input with board review and direction. Then the second read being for further discussion and the action. Right, this would be new for us. So right now we're doing a first read, a second read, and then we come back on that third month and make a decision. And then boom, we're already on the first read for the next one.
Yeah.
So if we went to this new policy, we would have a first read, a little bit of discussion, let the community talk to us about how they feel, go home, ruminate on it, come back, have our final discussion, and make a decision on the second month. And it would give us a month of reprieve in between the quarters. So instead of it being a 3-month process, it's a 2-month process, so we get a month off.
I'm good with that.
But I just wanted to call out that it would require that these CSBA packets are included in our posted agenda. So right now our agenda is usually just the agenda, but the packet would need to be in it. So, and we need to start encouraging the community to help us to make these decisions, right?
You mean in what?
What Rhonda posts. The posted agenda on the website, the policy packet, the proposed policy update would be with the packet.
So just the board agenda?
Yes.
That's.
Easy.
It's
I just wanted-
posted at the same time the agenda is required, it is every time.
Oh, is it? Okay. I don't know. I don't read the one on the
Yeah,
website.
it's board policy that you have everything
Okay.
that's happening in the board
Perfect.
meeting. You're right.
It already has everything.
Perfect.
Although, like right now, it wasn't in March's packet because it was in January's packet.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
but they're all available back.
yes,
3
we just have to
years
make
or
sure, and it says it in here, January's January board packet. So yeah, people would just need to know to refer.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't know if I've ever clicked on the link on the website, because I always open the one in my email, I just assumed ours was more detailed.
I've had
That's
some
what
of
I'm
the
on.
email ones failed before and you go and download the
Good to
website.
know. I'm on the website.
So am I.
Locked out of my email. Oh, how funny. Okay, so we're.
I always just access it through the website. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Very rarely.
It needs to update, right? Yeah. Okay, so we're good with this policy, but we understand the change in process for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, board policy 9321, closed session. And you might have heard me say things a little differently when I was doing the open session tonight, because, and reading this is the first time that I see that we should be verbalizing the closed session agenda items, either by item or by the agendized numbers. And so you might have heard me tonight say 6.1 through 6.4, because I've never even noticed that before. So I'm not opposed to making that change in the policy. We don't have it currently, but just pointing out that it was different. Attendance is a new section on this policy. According to it as it is written, the secretary shall attend closed session. In our district, the secretary is Gina, but designates Rhonda to take meeting minute notes. So it's a little bit kind of, so the question would be if do we want to change our practice in any way in who comes to the closed session? Would we want to have, Rhonda come and take closed session meeting minutes, or do we want to keep it as Gina, just saying. Even though Gina is the secretary, she delegates it, and it does say that or designee. The secretary or designee shall attend the closed session to take the meeting minutes. So, just wanted to point out that's a completely new section.
Would it be legal to change that language to and or delegate?
Well, it says or.
The very bottom, 231. It says or the other. Do you think both of them should attend?
That's what I'm curious, because sometimes when you delegate your authority away, you don't retain it. So you might not, I don't know if you can.
Then like
both.
Gina couldn't be in there, it was
So
strictly
I'm
just
I'm
Gina.
curious if they could both attend the meeting.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I kind of like that, because there are times, tonight we're going to be discussing some things that we don't discuss in front of Gina. So at that point, do we want to?
No, would we discuss it or Rhonda?
That's the question I'm asking you.
But you don't take notes on those things.
Yeah, I'm like,
No, we don't take notes on those.
is there a necessity to have minutes of a closed session?
Yeah, you have to, because if you do any vote at all, it has to be shared.
There's
Like
recording.
I do,
That's our closed session
Yeah, it's
minutes.
just recording. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like.
And we will, so we're gonna go back into closed session tonight, and, I will report out. No, because we aren't gonna finalize her evaluation. I don't think I'll report that. That doesn't have to be reported out this time. I'm gonna have to report out on 6.1.
It sounds like we might be able to use that language as long as in the open session before the closed session, we announce who the delegee or designing that's going to be in the session is.
Okay? So do you wanna change it to and or?
Okay with that?
Board secretary and or designee. Okay. Any opposition to, okay, then there's another part of this. This is what I'm confused, because Government Code 54957 explicitly prohibits the board from discussing any proposed change in the superintendent's compensation other than a reduction of compensation that results from an imposition of discipline under this exception. However, the board may meet in closed session to discuss the superintendent's compensation in closed session pursuant to Government Code 54957.6. underneath the negotiation collective bargaining item. The board may meet in closed session to review the board's position and/or instruct its designated representatives regarding salary schedules, or compensation paid in the form of fringe benefits of its represented and unrepresented employees, and for represented employees, any other matter within the statutory privileges statutory provided scope of representation. A closed session item regarding salaries, salary schedules, or compensation paid in the form of fringe benefits may include discussions of the district's available funds and funding priorities, but only insofar as they relate to providing instruction to the board's designated representative. Final action on the proposed compensation of one or more unrepresented employees shall not be taken in closed session. And so when I read that for like the sixth time, I feel like the policy in itself is saying you can't, but you can. Like, and I just
What
want
I'm getting is that those are gonna be the numbers that would have to be on the closed session for us to talk about it, and outside of that, we can't mention it. Is that?
I left the whole, I mean, I tried and I was just confused because it says you can't talk about it and then it says you can under this other policy. So more or less for me, it's just wanting to make sure, you know, I always strive to make sure we're doing it by the book. So, I just was confused by that statement. It kind of loopholes, and every time I read it, I get slightly more confused, quite honestly. I probably just didn't reach out to the legal counsel and see. What it's telling me. It's not so much that I'm thinking that the verbiage is wrong, it's just my ability to understand it might be. If I'm being honest. Yeah. Also, the last thing I wanted to say on this policy is there's a section regarding student board members, and that doesn't apply to us, so I suppose we don't adopt it because we already adopted that student board. We've already dropped that student board member policy. Okay, so is there any opposition to adopting it as written? And then I just need to understand I just need to reach out and get clarity either from CSDA or our attorneys what it really is telling us we can and can't do so that we don't do it wrong. Okay, so I propose we adopt it as written. However, we're going to change the statement about the secretary shall attend the secretary and or designee. So instead of saying secretary or designee, we'll say and or. And we are not going to adopt the paragraph about student board members. Okay, there's two exhibits that go along with this policy, and they are optional. We do not currently have them, and exhibit 1, I don't even understand why they propose that we have as an exhibit. It's part of the Brown Act. It's giving us all the codes through which that we can have items agendized for closed session. And the Brown Act, that book you just got tonight, does the same thing. So I don't think that it's a necessary exhibit personally. Any objection to not adopting it? And then on the exhibit 2, we don't currently have this. I will tell you, I almost always lean towards not incorporating optional policies. But this exhibit specifies which agendized items from closed session you're supposed to report out on. And as having been the president for the last couple of years, it would help me so much.
Yeah.
Because I look at 6, 1 through 4 and I'm like, which ones am I supposed to report out and which ones do I not? And so it gives some guidelines as to how you come back to the public and report out what was discussed on closed session. So from personal perspective and thinking about the next person in my role, it really is good information to have. And I wasn't opposed to adopting it even though we don't already have it.
It's definitely a good idea because
I mean, it literally went through each scenario that what you would report out. And I wasn't. we don't need to fill in the blanks are all what we would fill in on each of those agenda items. It's funny that they put the fill in the blanks there because it's like situational based on what that item was at the time.
Okay.
So for me personally, I just thought, you know what, that one actually could help a person.
Yeah.
A person learning this role, you know. Any opposition to adopting that one? Okay, adopt. We made it through the packets. All right, we'll get back to the agenda. So, based on those recommendations and all of the, decisions that I reiterated as clearly as I could, and I have handwritten here, I propose to adopt the updated board, November 2025 board policies as we agreed upon here tonight.
I will second that.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Discussion, that we also just got our February board policies. This is our first read. So considering that we did not have this new policy in place, and it's technically not in place until someone pushes go and damn it, do we want to proceed with this first read as we normally would have before, or the new, because we didn't invite the public to come in and I would like to somehow put out to the public, whether it be a post on our page or something, that we'd love to hear from you as a board. Here's the,
That's what board meetings are, that's what this is, and all that's available online, just as it's read. There's really nothing that needs to change.
okay.
There's nothing that there would be no new obligation technically,
On our part.
aspirational, I guess.
Right, so, but my question is, so this is like our normal first read, and then we would see it on next month as a second read, and we would do it on a third month. Do we want to continue with that practice for this packet, or do we want to go ahead and be ready to make decisions on the second read as our new policy states?
Next one.
We might put off this one, because it's not in effect right now.
Okay, so we'll do the first read now, we'll do second read in February. I'm sorry, April. I'm sorry, I would love to buy some more time this month, thank you for coming. Okay, second read in April, and then we will decide in May. Okay. 18.0, superintendent update.
Okay. TKK project, we're almost to the finish line. Asphalt was poured on Tuesday, playground equipment is installed, and we're waiting for the foam fall padding. There was a snafu with some of the furniture deliveries, so we're working that out with Lakeshore. We have Plan A that includes the new rooms for the TKK roundup, and Plan B in case we can't. Parent right to know legislation changed again. California has revised legislation in favor of a parent's right to know their child if their child is identifying with a gender other than their natural gender at birth. The handbook, do you guys remember the handbook? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Oh my gosh. So that's been a very long project. And I did talk to the person, her name's Kayla, yesterday for the final edits. So it should be posted on the website when Rhonda gets back from medical leave. We received our CDE notification of annual determination pursuant to the IDEA. That is a check on your IEPs and your special ed numbers and percentages. We did get 2 compliance findings for late IEPs. I met with Kristen from SELPA. Had already been rectified, so there's no further action to take, but we did look at the codes, and it looked like maybe one could have been coded differently, and it would not have been in compliance. So I met with our special ed team. We reviewed the findings, we reviewed the coding, and and kind of looked at why these ones were late. It was a beneficial meeting, and I will say that Lindsay does do a really good job at the end of each month sending out a report to our special ed team on outstanding IEPs and signatures, and so we are getting them attested much quicker, and like that monthly reminder has been super helpful. Maintenance, so M&O, they completed 63 maintenance tickets for January and February. For meals in February, there were 18 days in February, so for both school, they did 2,131 breakfasts and 4,664 lunches. Our PTO did a Pretty in Pink dance. I was sick, so I could not make it, but I hear that it was very pink. It was very cute. I went to opening ceremonies for Little League on Saturday, and it was really awesome. They have one team at each age level, so that was really good to see. And then our phone system. Our phone system. So I think I told you, maybe in a letter or not, that the phone system was dying out. They can no longer support it. We were going to go with a certain cloud company, but they don't have what's called the E-rate out here, so we were gonna have to change our phone numbers. And I decided I didn't want to be the person to do that. So it's a long story, but they notified us basically on Monday that they were having to come change the phones and do some training, otherwise our voicemail would be gone by Friday. So they came today and started the process, and yeah.
Whose phones could be such a pain?
So we're getting through it. They should work the same. Our voicemails should work the same. We should still have everything the same programmatically. But anyways, that's where we are with the phone system. Where Larissa had to coordinate that this afternoon, last minute. And that's all I have.
Perfect, thank you. 19.0, business manager update.
Okay, so I completed the second interim budget, which I, gave to you guys in the packet. We'll start to roll over the next fiscal year, and start the adopted budget with the information that is currently out. The business clerk will probably start to begin orders for the staff, all the certificated teachers in the classrooms. They do like these big max orders for just, crayons, stuff like that. Sherry talked about the TK building. There's also another new playground at the primary installed. And that's complete in addition to the one at the TK building. And then there was an email, I got an email this morning from SCOE. They approved our CEA waiver that we submitted back in January. The generator install is moving slowly. I'm not quite sure where they're currently at. They were supposed to be pouring the pad here at the elementary. But the primary were held up and can't do anything because there's a project that wasn't closed out with BSA 10 years ago or something. And so they pretty much won't even look at anything new until that project's closed. Semmingson has been working on it, but I'm not sure how much they've actually been working on it. So I've been kind of bugging them because we're using the kitchen money basically to fund all the generator stuff, and that needs to be encumbered by the end of this year. So we're kind of on a time crunch. So hopefully they get moving on that. And then, the new phone installation. The company that we're going through basically figured it out, but there's gonna be some stuff happening on the back end. So we're still in our contract with TPX, who currently holds our numbers. So it's like a call forwarding situation, which I guess we are doing even through TPX. But we're gonna finish out our contract for the year. In the meantime, Ganor's working on the back side of things to get our numbers.
The ownership of our numbers.
Yeah, to get our numbers. So that was kind of why everything got canceled. And then I didn't realize that they were physically doing a project at SCOE that was going to take away our phone system. until Monday morning when Zoe called me and said, well, someone.
Yeah, because we've been working with IT at SCOE, and he's been kind of project managing the whole thing. And he was like, oh yeah, last time we met on a Zoom meeting with all these people, oh yeah, we have some time. And then all of a sudden we didn't.
Yeah, they're like, Friday, we're doing this, and I didn't quite comprehend, so I'm like, wait a minute, what if we don't do the phones this week? Like, what are you saying? And he's like, you won't have a voicemail. And I was like, oh. You should have just led with that.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have had to have like a 30-minute conversation. So anyways, we decided it was best to just go ahead and move forward with the new system. It will just, hopefully we can get the numbers, but we'll just have to cross that bridge in a year from now. And if they have to be changed, they have to be changed. The problem is we just don't want to keep paying TPX for our phone numbers forever, you know, when, just because they own them. So, and yeah, that's all I have.
Thank you. Any questions? 20.0 enrollment update as of March 6th, 2026, 449 grades TK through 8. I'm assuming it also includes CES because usually it says it does. 21.0 next meetings, Tuesday. I just want to make sure that we make note of that. It's Tuesday, April 14th, after we come back from break. Regular board meeting. May the 13th will be our regular board meeting in May at the normal time on a Wednesday. Board meeting times, unless otherwise posted, we would meet at 5:15 to 5:20 for open session for community comments on the closed session items here in the elementary cafeteria. 5:20 to 6 p.m. closed session, says elementary room 1. However, tonight we ventured onto the staff room, and that was a little bit more comfortable, I think, for some. We're getting a lot of yeses, so we'll probably change that to the staff. What is that called? Is it staff break room? Staff room? Okay. 6 o'clock, we come over here for open session again in the cafeteria. So we need to adjourn open session and reconvene closed session. We have 2 items to discuss in closed session. Motion to adjourn open session and convene closed session. Reconvene. Second that. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, anyone who's interested, we will come back here as quickly as we can to report out on our closed session. I think if you want